cover on the Shannon Sharpe shit. Give me 1 second. Okay, I did that. Okay, we'll do that in a bit. Somebody says Unkin 5. I ain't gonna lie. His audience gonna keep him afloat, man. But yo, them corporate entities, they're not about to fuck with him, bro. They're not about to fuck with him. Just let me look at to make sure we covered every single thing with this. Here we go. Okay, I bet. Damn. See, chat, when it rains, it fucking pours. When it rains, it pours. So now they're coming out with some more information. Check this out, chat. They said exclusive. This is 52 minutes ago. Shannon Sharpe was accused of choking a female coworker at Fox in a previous unreported incident. Sources tell Sports Rap Report. Sharpe's lawyers confirmed to FOS that an incident happened and say it was resolved by Fox. Sharpe denies that it was choking. Oh, boy. This is a tough thing. Give me 1 second. This is a tough thing for it's a tough thing to kind of really get through, right? So I see a lot of people asking, like, why would you offer $10 million, right? And some people feel like that's almost an indictment against him because that kind of shows guilt. Like, you know what I mean? These days, especially with the new wave of like sexual assault and stuff like that, shit, Diddy supposedly paid up and he went to jail. So do you think anybody's really going to pay up unless like you want it's some crazy shit? I think niggas is down to fight it. I mean, everybody seems like they want to fight it, but Shannon Sharpe came around and looked like he offered money. Now, there's a little bit different interpretation of why he may have tried to fight it. And his lawyer did release a press release. And they kind of try to explain why he would do that, okay? Check this out. So this was...
The lawsuit that was filed over the weekend against Hall of Fame tight end and media personality.
Now, they're going to speak from his lawyer's perspective because his lawyer kind of explains certain stuff to, like, the media. Supposedly it was a press conference. I couldn't find a press conference of just a lawyer speaking, but it's very important to know the lawyer that Shannon Sharpe went with. His name is Lanny Davis, okay? Lanny Davis is a crisis manager, okay? He's a lawyer. He's a consultant, a lobbyist, and many other things. Now, if we click on his Wikipedia, you're going to see a lot of things. His clients have been Harvey Weinstein. I think he's most notable. By the way, he's most notable for representing, you'll see here, Bill Clinton. So he lobbied on behalf of Bill Clinton, but also represented Bill Clinton supposedly for some other things as well. So this is the crisis manager that you hire when shit is going left, okay? Oh, the guy from Jersey. I didn't know that. So he's worked with politicians. By the way, I think he also worked with Trump. Oh, fuck. What the fuck? Sorry. I think he also worked with Trump. Give me a second. Trump. Yeah. In 2018, he was hired by, he worked for Michael Cohen, who was Trump's attorney. So he was the crisis manager for Trump's attorney who got charged. Davis later represented Cohen when he pled guilty to tax fraud, bank fraud, and a violation of campaign finance laws, okay? Yeah, he's represented a shit ton of people, okay? And he's the person that Shannon Sharpe is going with. So Shannon Sharpe is going with one of the big dogs who have represented people even high up in politics.
Shannon Sharpe has been one of the biggest stories for anyone who follows the NFL. Everybody knows who Shannon Sharpe is. The allegations against him are, on their surface, troubling. And Sharpe's position is clear. It's all falsified, it's all fabricated, and it's all part of a broader effort to blackmail him. So, like many cases when a person of a high profile is involved, there's two components, two courts, the court of law and the court of public opinion. And it's become clear to me from the outset of this effort by Shannon Sharpe and his lawyer Lanny Davis to push back, a lot of what's being said is intended for the court of public opinion. And sometimes the strategies are going to be very different in the court of public opinion than they are in a court of law. All that matters in the court of law is the final verdict. In the court of public opinion, it's what people think, and they're going to make their decisions. They're going to come to their conclusions. They're going to have their impressions early on. So it's critical to move quickly to get people to accept your version of reality and to see it your way and to support you and your position right out of the gates. And that's a big part of what's happened this week. And that's important to this update in the Shannon Sharpe case. Lanny Davis,
that's the lawyer.
And you may know the name. He represented President Clinton back in the 90s when Clinton had some things going on. He represented Michael Cohen, the former lawyer for Donald Trump, several years ago when Cohen had some things going on. And now Lanny Davis is primarily responsible for this lawsuit against Shannon Sharpe. Davis had a press conference yesterday regarding the situation, and one of the big aspects of the effort to prevail in the court of public opinion comes from placing pressure on attorney Tony Buzbee and the plaintiff in the case against Sharpe to release the unedited tape of what Davis and Sharpe believe were edited into a snippet that suggests a non-consensual sexual encounter. They believe that the full tape, the full video, will show the proper context and that it was consensual. And there's a lot of pressure being placed on Buzbee and the plaintiff to produce, not just produce it, but to surrender it to an expert who can determine whether the edited version is real and whether the unedited version is authentic as well.
By the way, this isn't the lawyer. Just to let you know, this isn't Lanny Davis.
Now, to me, that's always been part of the PR play because, and I posed this question yesterday and Davis accurately answered it, he's automatically and absolutely entitled to get the unedited tape as part of the discovery process in the lawsuit. You submit.
So to kind of, I don't know if, sometimes I feel like people might be talking and y'all not understanding it. Just because they're long-winded or they're talking just not a colloquial way like I talk. So there's a sex tape that they're going to plan to show to the jury. Okay? In every case, you have to give discovery. So when it works in civil cases, so in a criminal case, discovery is from the prosecutors to the defense. The defense only has to reveal if they're bringing new things to the table, but basically you got to trade information that's going to be used in the trial. In a civil case, both sides have to trade what they have. So, for example, I want to see your phone records. Be like, well, I want to see your phone records. Y'all trade phone records. You get what I'm saying? Because in a civil case, it's like the idea of making a case or defending a case is kind of like almost very mutual, as opposed to when you're in a criminal case, all you got to do is defend yourself and you really don't even have to put nothing forward. You just have to work against what they have against you. So Shannon Sharpe is saying, well, y'all have put out these messages or y'all have put out these recorded phone calls. We want the entire phone call. And we want to have our legal, or not legal, but tech experts make sure it's not edited. We want to make sure this is in full. We want to make sure this is the original copy. And again, they haven't really gotten that far in the court process, but they're basically saying we haven't gotten that yet, right? And I mean, technically, they don't have to get it yet, but obviously Shannon Sharpe wants it now to be able to, on a court of public opinion, be like, yo, they edited that. You know what I mean? They don't have it yet.
a Rule 34 request for production, and you get it. You get it. They can't not give it to you. And if they've messed with it, that's another can of worms they're going to have to deal with. So putting the pressure on Tony Buzbee publicly now really does feel like part of this PR play. Why won't you release it now? Release it now. Show everyone. That's the problem, because they want people to think that there's some fundamental problem with the edited version, supposedly the one that differs dramatically from the unedited version. So that was a big part of the press conference yesterday. There were other things that were said, but the most important, and I was surprised when I first heard this. I thought Lanny Davis misspoke. Fairly early in the conference call, he mentioned that Shannon Sharpe, during efforts to settle the case before the lawsuit was filed, offered tens of millions of dollars to the plaintiff. And he used that phrase several times, tens of millions of dollars. And I, along with other people who were on the call, asked questions. The way it worked was you typed your question in.
Okay. So it looked like the lawyer was talking and they were able to ask questions. Okay, so that's why he has exclusive. Okay.
Offered tens of millions of dollars to the plaintiff. And he used that phrase several times, tens of millions of dollars. And I, along with other people who were on the call, asked questions. The way it worked was you typed your question in. You didn't actually verbally express the question. So you type the question, you send it, and you wait for them to answer it. Multiple people who were on that call asked the question of, is it tens of millions or is it 10 million? What's the number specifically? So eventually, after saying tens of millions several times, Lanny Davis said that Shannon Sharpe offered at least $10 million to settle the case. Now, I practiced law for 18 years. I was stunned by that. Because, and look, I know that within the...
What? I just missed that.
I, along with other people who were on the call, asked questions. The way it worked was you typed your question in. You didn't actually verbally express the question. So you type the question, you send it, and you wait for them to answer it. Multiple people who were on that call asked the question of, is it tens of millions or is it 10 million? What's the number specifically? So eventually, after saying tens of millions several times, Lanny Davis said that Shannon Sharpe offered at least $10 million to settle the case. Now, I practiced law for 18 years. I was stunned by that because, and look, I know that within the confines of litigation, when you settle a case and you write the check and it goes away, part of the release agreement that you get from the plaintiff has language making it clear that we deny everything and the payment of money should never be regarded as proof of liability or admission of responsibility. Also, when the case is over, there's a confidentiality provision in there that prevents the plaintiff from ever saying what was obtained through this effort to settle the case. I was surprised that Lanny Davis was so candid about this because it cuts against the expectation and the idea and this effort to sell that it's all falsified and it's all blackmail and it's all extortion, and I didn't do anything. Oh, but I was willing to pay $10 million. Now, the only way to thread that needle is to say, okay, well, it was pretty effective blackmail because he was willing to pay $10 million for something he didn't do, and she didn't want it. She wanted more. I just think that when you're dealing in the court of public opinion, it's not easy to spin those two plates. I didn't do anything. This is all falsified. And I offered at least $10 million, and she wouldn't take it. I think most people, this is my opinion, most people are going to hear those two facts, and most people are going to say, man, why would he offer $10 million if he didn't do anything? Doesn't mean he did anything. But when we're playing to the court of public opinion, I didn't do anything and it's all fabricated and falsified and I'm going to fight this tooth and nail. Oh, by the way, I offered $10 million before it started. It's a tough one to balance. And I expressed that yesterday in an item that I wrote at PFT immediately after the press conference ended. And I'm updating this now, number one, because I think it's an important development as it relates to the court of public opinion, because Shannon Sharpe and his lawyer want anyone who's listening to this to believe that he's blameless, and he has every right to shout from the rooftops, I did nothing wrong. And we're trying to be fair to everyone involved in this situation. And it's an interesting case because only two people know what the truth is. And there's not going to be a whole lot of evidence that I think is going to tip the scales one way or the other. But did hear from Lanny Davis after I wrote my item suggesting that it's difficult to reconcile. I didn't do anything with, I offered her $10 million, at least $10 million, as Lanny Davis said. So what I'm going to do...
So it's not $10 million, it's at least 10. Wow.
I'm going to write this at PFT, and he wanted to post his own op-ed at PFT, and that's just not the way we do things. But I said, you send me a statement, and I'll look at it, I'll consider it, I might use some of it, I might use all of it, and in fairness to Shannon Sharpe and to Lanny Davis, I'm going to read the whole thing right now. I'm going to copy, paste, no snarky comment, the whole thing at PFT later. But here's what Lanny Davis had to say in response to my opinion that it's difficult to reconcile Sharpe saying on one hand, I didn't do anything, and Davis admitting on the other hand that Sharpe offered at least $10 million to the plaintiff to settle the case before she filed suit. And this is all, until I say it's over, this is all from Lanny Davis, counsel to Shannon Sharpe. I strongly disagree with Mr. Florio's opinion that Mr. Sharpe's decision to pay Ms. Zuniga, who engaged in blackmail, a threat to publish private sexual activity unless she was paid substantial money, in any way infers that Mr. Sharpe was responsible for any wrongdoing, and certainly does not change his belief, and mine as his attorney, that Ms. Zuniga lied in her allegations in the complaint she filed and was responsible for an edited tape leaving a false impression of non-consensual sexual activity, and she has refused to allow that tape to be examined by an independent expert to determine whether she made any editing or deletions in the original tape that she secretly made during sexual activity with Mr. Sharpe. In fact...
Wow. Okay, that's interesting. So, chat, so now we're getting some more info. So, because, you know what I was thinking? I'm like, how green is Uncle Shay Shay? Chat. So, one in the chat, if you're a dude and you've let a woman record you and keep the footage of you fucking her. So this is sex. If you've allowed a woman to record you having sex with her and she keeps the footage. Now, I know niggas might record them fucking a girl and you might send the girl the footage because y'all kinky like that. But you've let a girl record you, and still, one in the chat for all my chat queens, if a man has allowed you to record sex with them on your phone, that's kind of like a no-no. Like, why would you let the girl record y'all? What the fuck? For her purposes. So two is the other option. So two or any other number is if you don't let no woman record you having sex with her. Do you record her? Probably. But if she's recording you, that don't sound too right. Because I was thinking about it, I'm like, Shannon can't be that green. Why would he allow her to record him? He has so much to lose. She could get mad at him. She could threaten to do whatever with it. Then I started thinking about some other stuff. Maybe he pulled up to her apartment. Maybe she has a Ring camera. Maybe she's surveillance footage. But it's no way, like, she's like fucking selfie mode while Shannon is beating it down from the back. No way, right? Or she got a camera set up, and I know she's an OnlyFans model. Like, no way Shannon would allow that, right? So that's the confusion. How does she has a 10-minute video of him fucking her?
Way infers that Mr. Sharpe was responsible for any wrongdoing, and certainly does not change his belief, and mine as his attorney, that Ms. Zuniga lied in her allegations in the complaint she filed and was responsible for an edited tape leaving a false impression of non-consensual sexual activity, and she has refused to allow that tape to be examined by an independent expert to determine whether she made any editing or deletions in the original tape that she secretly made during sexual activity with Mr. Sharpe.
Secretly made? Now that's throwing me for a loop, chat. How did she make a secret tape? A secret sex tape? Huh?
And this is all, until I say it's over, this is all from Lanny Davis, counsel to Shannon Sharpe. I strongly disagree with Mr. Florio's opinion that Mr. Sharpe's decision to pay Ms. Zuniga, who engaged in blackmail, a threat to publish private sexual activity unless she was paid substantial money, in any way infers that Mr. Sharpe was responsible for any wrongdoing, and certainly does not change his belief, and mine as his attorney, that Ms. Zuniga lied in her allegations in the complaint she filed and was responsible for an edited tape leaving a false impression of non-consensual sexual activity, and she has refused to allow that tape to be examined by an independent expert to determine whether she made any editing or deletions in the original tape that she secretly made during sexual activity with Mr. Sharpe. In fact, Mr. Sharpe decided to pay the substantial blackmail money demanded by Ms. Zuniga for the same reason why many other innocent people subject to a blackmail threat decide, usually painfully, to pay the blackmailer for the same reasons Mr. Sharpe, having absolutely nothing to do with any admission of wrongdoing. In Mr. Sharpe's case, as in the case of virtually all other subjects of blackmail, the reason was primarily to avoid public embarrassment for himself and his family and other adverse consequences to his life and reputation. I respectfully suggest that if Mr. Florio take the time to do fact reporting and interview many others who made the same decision as Mr. Sharpe to pay the blackmailer, and be able, based on fact reporting and not opinion writing, to demonstrate that most people who decide to play blackmailers do so without the slightest implication of admitting to wrongdoing or any worry about personal wrongdoing. He may also decide, in his own reconsideration on this subject, that there was nothing inconsistent in my statement that Mr. Sharpe denied the lie, that he did anything other than engage in consensual sex, and that the tape secretly recorded by Ms. Zuniga was incomplete, contained deletions or edits to mislead the viewer into a conclusion that the sexual encounter was non-consensual. I am disappointed. Mr. Florio admitted in his opinion piece my challenge to Ms. Zuniga and her attorney that if they claim there were no such deletions or editing of her secretly recorded tape, then she should give her attorney permission to turn it over to a neutral professional investigator to determine whether or not it was altered in any way.
All right. Now, let me help break down what's going on, chat. So what's happening here is that they're trying the Jay-Z method with like that Alex Spiro used. So they're asking like, oh, give us the tape that we could. If this goes to trial, you have to get the tape. You have to. If that tape is going to be somewhat evidence, you have to get the tape. Here's the thing. Shannon Sharpe is or was being, in this middle of this $1 million, $100 million deal. They're trying to debunk everything now. So how it works in court, you get to many different steps before discovery. You get to many different steps before discovery. So, yeah, you might get the tape, but you might get the tape 5 months from now, 6 months from now. By that time, public opinion already made up their mind. So that's why they're trying to do what Alex Spiro did, like almost rush the process, like, give us the tape now, give us the tape now, give us the tape now. The court, if they don't give that tape up to y'all, they can't use it in court. But here's the thing, because, and all these, all these lawyers that are like, we could call them ambulance chasers or whatever, but they know time is of the essence. They know right now, like, I could go look up that case in court. Didn't we look it up in court? Didn't I look it up in court, chat? This shit was filed in what court? Let me see. Because we did pull it up. Shannon Sharpe. Here we go. We got the complaint. Wait, what? No. Hold on. No, this ain't it. This ain't it. Is this it? Yeah, we got it right here. This was filed in Vegas. Okay, yeah, this was filed in Vegas. If you guys are looking for the full complaint plus text messages are listed on Akademiks blog. All right. This is a complaint. It's filed in Nevada. I'll show you how I look up these cases if you're ever curious. How can I look it up? Nevada civil case search. I already got the case number. It's Clark County over there. Civil case search. You click on that. Oh, I might have to pay for it. It's all good if I do. Okay, enter the characters. MW. What is that? I can't tell. Okay. ZQXX, I think. Okay, we got the case number. The case number for this is... What's the case number? The case number is A-25-917-246-C. That's the case number, okay? So when you search that, of course, it doesn't pop up anything. Oh, my God. Or maybe I shouldn't put the hyphen. The hyphen might not need to be there. I think the hyphen they put in their own system. Let's try it again. Got to put this back again. 8PQ6. Oh, my God. Now I got to put this fucking case number back in again. I'm putting the right case number, right? Why is it not popping up? Search by defendant. We'll just do that. Sharpe, Shannon. Oh my God. This is MR48. I think that's an R, I believe. Search by defendant. Sharpe, Shannon. Okay, here we go. What is this? Shannon Sharpe. None of these are the joint. Oh, I think it's filed in a different court. The only reason I'm looking it up, and okay, this is township, so this is municipal. So municipal is not gonna have like a civil case like this. It's just gonna have like him getting parking tickets. So these are traffic tickets. You get what I'm saying? Now I gotta look. I'll look it up later. Oh, because it's in the 8th Judicial Court. Okay. So I ain't gonna waste our time by doing that. The reason why I was gonna do that is I was gonna show you the current status of the case. Bro, civil cases take a long time. Like, it takes a long time. So discovery is still not near. So when his lawyers is putting out statements saying, give us the videotape of that you secretly recorded, they're not going to give you the videotape, number one. Number two, they're also probably thinking about if, I don't know if, is Nevada a two-party state? I got to see. Like, first of all, it's kind of legal to just secretly record someone in sex anyway, right? But if it's under the yeah, it's very interesting. If it's at her house and she's recording it for, like, in some states, if you're recording bedroom activity to not commercialize and use, and that's why that whole idea of them calling out that, oh, they're about to put out a 30-second video, that would be an illegal thing that they could go after Tony Busby for. That would be breaking a law. That would be a crime. So this is why Tony Busby came back and said, we're not going to put out 30 seconds. We're going to just show it in court. Now, that's legal. There's like a lot of things to think about with this, and I think they're playing chess. They're trying to get Tony Busby to break the law because it's easier to then attack him criminally. That's what Jay-Z's lawyer kind of did. Jay-Z's lawyer pretty much attacked Tony Busby until the case fell apart, right? So I think that's what these lawyers are trying to do, but they're not Jay-Z's lawyer. But I was going to pull up the case to show that there's nothing that's going on, which means they're not asking for discovery yet. But yet the lawyer keeps talking about give us the tape. Why would they give you out the tape right now when they're benefiting from running propaganda through the media and the media don't need the tape?
A blackmail threat, decide, usually painfully, to pay the blackmailer for the same reasons Mr. Sharpe, having absolutely nothing to do with any admission of wrongdoing. In Mr. Sharpe's case, as in the case of virtually all other subjects of blackmail, the reason was primarily to avoid public embarrassment for himself and his family and other adverse consequences to his life and reputation. I respectfully suggest that if Mr. Florio take the time to do fact reporting and interview many others who made the same decision as Mr. Sharpe to pay the blackmailer and be able, based on fact reporting and not opinion writing, to demonstrate that most people who decide to play blackmailers do so without the slightest implication of admitting to wrongdoing or any worry about personal wrongdoing. He may also decide in his own reconsideration on this subject that there was nothing inconsistent in my statement that Mr. Sharpe denied the lie, that he did anything other than engage in consensual sex, and that the tape secretly recorded by Ms. Zuniga was incomplete, contained deletions or edits to mislead the viewer into a conclusion that the sexual encounter was non-consensual. I am disappointed. Mr. Florio admitted in his opinion piece my challenge to Ms. Zuniga and her attorney that if they claim there were no such deletions or editing of her secretly recorded tape, then she should give her attorney permission to turn it over to a neutral professional investigator to determine whether or not it was altered in any way. All right. That's his statement. Now, there's a lot there. But here's the bottom line. His position is that Sharpe did nothing that is inconsistent with what people who are the victims of blackmail do. They offer to pay the money that is requested. I get that. I understand that. And in this case, the argument would be, from Sharpe's perspective, the plaintiff tried to blackmail me, and she threatened to sue if I didn't give her X number of dollars. I offered $10 million to keep this from becoming a thing. It doesn't mean I did anything wrong. I just didn't want this to become a thing. And now that it's a thing, I'm willing to tell you I offered her $10 million. See, that's the part that conflicts with my own experience practicing law. I never had a case like this one, but you typically don't go around telling people how much money you offered to settle a case. People who find themselves on the wrong side of a...
Well, I would say to this person, first of all, Shannon Sharpe didn't volunteer the information first, saying, oh, we offered to pay $10 million. Shannon Sharpe's whole strategy has been, it's like, say someone is trying to contort the truth. You're like, I'm going to tell you the whole truth. And I'm going to do it before this person gives you a skewed perception of the truth. Now, in trying to give the whole truth in context, you have to admit things that don't make you look good. Like, for example, some of the text messages that Shannon Sharpe leaked himself or put out himself, some of the messages don't make him look good. But he has to do it to try to establish credibility with the audience, because remember, this is now in the court of public opinion. It ain't get to real court yet. I mean, it's in a real court, but it hasn't really gone down the chain yet. You got to make people feel like you're telling so much of the truth that the other person's lying. And that's why I think he's putting out more info. And I think that's why, he could have just ignored this. Remember, Tony Busby's the one that said, they offered us like $10 million. And he could have just ignored it, but people are going to be like, oh, you're not being transparent no more. You're running from this. And I think to try to gain the trust of the public, he's like, no, I'll admit it. Yeah, we did offer that, but we were getting shook down. And we had other things going on. So I think that was a tactic to try to establish some, hey, we were trying to do the right thing, or we weren't, we're telling you the truth. They're telling you a different version or trying to skew the truth.
A lawsuit don't like the world to know that you're willing to pay out that kind of money because it invites others to do the same thing. It's all usually very discreet and it's all very confidential. And usually what happens is any numbers that are exchanged in settlement talks, those are treated as secret and private and they don't get used. They're never admissible in court. You can't go to court and say, well, he offered me $10 million. He must be guilty of something. None of that is getting into the trial of the case. This is all for the benefit of the court of public opinion. So my point is, my opinion, my experience, my expectation would be you don't tell the world that you offered this person who you claim is blackmailing you and has made up everything and who you plan to sue for defamation and any other.
That's another thing. Shannon Sharpe has said he's going to sue her for defamation. I'm still waiting for that lawsuit to pop up. I don't think they've fully compiled it. But he claims he's going to sue her. Here's the thing. I don't know how you could sue her for defamation when her... Remember, this is like a loophole. I keep telling you. Her lawyer is doing the talking for her, and her lawyer is talking through legal documents, not necessarily online. So how do you sue for defamation when she hasn't said a word, and only things she's saying is allegations in a lawsuit? Again, we haven't seen this purported or suggested defamation lawsuit from Shannon Sharpe to Zuniga yet.
Their claim that you can legitimately identify and pursue, you don't offer that person $10 million. You're pissed off. That's my assessment. And I'm surprised, frankly, that it's out there, that it's been so willingly shared with the world, because I don't think it would have been proper for Busby to say, hey, they offered us $10 million and we walked away from it. I don't think that would have been appropriate. Now, it's Sharpe's prerogative to put it out there. They strategically decided to put out there that he offered $10 million. And now the court of public opinion is going to make its decision.
Now, we got a little bit more update on this. This is crazy, Chad. Sports report. So now, apparently this incident that happened, what the fuck? This incident that happened at FS1 was settled for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let's see if we can get some more details on it. They said Fox and Shannon Sharpe settled a physical incident with a female PA for hundreds of thousands of dollars. ESPN contributor Shannon Sharpe announced Thursday he's stepping away from the network as he faces a $50 million lawsuit on allegations that he raped a woman who he had a relationship with. While he contends with that suit, additional incidents from his past have come to light. Before Shannon Sharpe's time at ESPN, where he was the co-host of FS1's Undisputed, he was accused of choking a female production assistant in the workplace. Two sources with knowledge of the incident tell Front Office Sports. One source says Shannon and Fox settled with the accuser for several $100,000. There was no lawsuit filed against Shannon Sharpe in the incident. A rep for Shannon Sharpe told Front Office Sports there was no incident of choking involving Shannon Sharpe on the FS1 set. On one occasion, he and a few colleagues were involved in some light physical interaction in a playful context. Fox Sports later chose to resolve the matter privately. For further details, we recommend contacting Fox directly. A Fox Sports spokesperson declined to comment prior to the statement from Sharpe's camp, and could not be immediately reached for a follow-up. Sharpe co-hosted Undisputed from 2016 to 2023, which is 7 years. The timing of the incident was unknown. In 2010, Sharpe briefly stepped away from his role on CBS NFL Today studio show. After he was accused of sexual assault, he returned to the network after a restraining order was dismissed. Earlier this week, a woman filed a lawsuit in Nevada accusing Sharpe of raping her. The woman, represented by attorney Tony Busby, who has previously filed lawsuits against Deshaun Watson, Jay-Z, and Diddy, said in the lawsuit that when she was 19, she met Sharpe at a gym in 2023. Sharpe is now 56. He was 54 then, by the way. The lawsuit claimed that the two had a consensual relationship that grew tense when Sharpe went on Instagram Live last October having sex with another woman. Okay? Sharpe said it was by accident. Busby later released audio of Sharpe threatening to choke the accuser, and Sharpe's lawyer, Lanny Davis, has claimed that Sharpe and the plaintiff engaged in role-playing. By the way, it's very interesting, and, that's kind of what this reminds me of? Andrew Tate, BDSM, I think he spoke about this, because he said like some of the things he got accused of, like, for example, he's on tape like beating a woman, but he says no, it's not him beating a woman, it's role playing. Actually, the woman herself, she came out and said this.
Hi, I'm pretty sure many of you have seen a video of Andrew Tate beating up a woman.
There's a video from 10 years ago that showed me in a sexual act with one of my ex-girlfriends.
And I'm pretty sure not so many of you have seen The same woman coming forward with a statement saying it was nothing but a sex play. So here I am again for the second time. Yes, the woman he has beaten up, and the same woman who has made a statement is me. So I'm coming forward for the second time to just clarify and let everybody know it was nothing but a sex play. Consensual foreplay that we like doing, that I was into, that I wanted. It was not abuse. There was no physical domestic violence happening. It was a consensual sex play. This is the second time I'm making the statement because I'm getting sick and tired of being tagged saying I need to come forward again, even though I did. And I don't like seeing injustice of him being called woman beater for the same video that I've already.
Now, clearly, she's saying, I was down with the kinkiness. It wasn't him beating my ass. This was role playing. Obviously, in the Shannon Sharpe situation, the woman is saying, him threatening me and some other context, no. Like, yeah, we did do role playing, but no, it went much further than that, right? So, let me see if we had the Andrew Tate, him explaining the BDSM stuff. Because I think he did try to. Okay, I can't really find it, but that's kind of that's kind of how Andrew Tate kind of like people use it to be like, oh, that's evidence of him doing some sex trafficking. Look, he has these women tied up, he's beating them, and he's like, no, that's some kinky shit. So really, some of this kinky shit that could be taken out of context when, I don't know, maybe you and the girl don't get along no more and now she don't like you or whatever the case is, or shit, now the government want to give you a sex trafficking charge for whatever reason. This kinky play where like you're choking a girl or beating her up could look different depending on when, right? Here we go. Busby later. Okay, cool. It's her opinion that this is a classic case of blackmail. This is what Lanny Davis says. The plaintiff demanded tens of millions of dollars in a proceeding called mediation in return for her not publishing this tape. So look like her thing was, I'm going to drop this tape. Davis said that Sharpe had offered at least $10 million to sell the lawsuit before it was filed, and they were blindsided when talks broke down and news of the lawsuit broke in the media. So again, this is what I keep saying. I agree with Mace. There's a pimp involved. Like, who turns down just $10 million? She don't have a pot to piss in. And negotiations he's already offering $10 million, which means look like he's down to give some bread. How does it just immediately break down to the point where you're exposing him and you're filing this lawsuit? Maybe, or you know, let me be fair. Maybe they thought it was going to be the same thing that happened to Diddy, because remember they said Cassie was asking Diddy for money, like $30 million. Diddy said, fuck no. As soon as he filed the lawsuit, or she filed the lawsuit, Diddy came paying in 24 hours. You remember that? You remember that? Cassie, 24 hours, Diddy settlement, right? Y'all remember that? Because at first, he was not like, apparently they were talking in private, he wasn't going to pay. And then as soon as the lawsuit was filed, the shit got settled. Look, why did it look?
I really don't feel like
Wait, what is this? Yeah, he has settled really quickly.
And right now we're following breaking news tonight and what appears to be a huge development in the lawsuit involving Sean Combs. Moments ago, word coming out that Combs and R&B singer Cassandra Ventura have settled the lawsuit. Both sides releasing statements moments ago saying they agreed to resolve the matter amicably. The settlement comes one day after word of the lawsuit was filed, where she accused him of sexual assault. She claims while the two were dating, Combs raped her and forced her to have sex with male prostitutes.
Interesting. Okay. Says at this juncture, I'm electing to step aside. You know what people also pointed out? They said if you look at Shannon Sharpe's message, so let's go to Shannon's page. They're saying, why the hell did Shannon just take a screenshot of a message sent to him? They're like, Shannon forgot to write this where it was blue. So this is gray, meaning somebody sent this statement to him. And they're like, he just took a screenshot of the PR sending a statement to him rather than at least writing it himself. Like, nigga, at least copy and paste it to your notes. This makes it seem like this just came into your phone. You know what I mean? And they're saying, they're like, his lawyer's watching him just take a screenshot of what the PR said and put it up there. Yeah, this was clearly sent to him, right? My statement is found here. This is the truth, right? Looked like he cropped out everything else. Oh, man. Look at this. Shannon Sharpe screenshot. Look. Wait. This is Shannon Sharpe lawyers watching him post a screenshot of their PR statement. They're like, yo, Unc is still unking, man. Oh, man. They're like, oh, nah, don't tell me Unc is still unking, bro. Say it ain't so. Anyway.
And make its assessment whether this is the normal and natural behavior of somebody who was blackmailed to offer the money and then to talk about it later, that the money was offered in a failed attempt to avoid the thing that the blackmailer said the blackmailer was going to do, or whether an offer of $10 million at some level suggests that maybe he had a reason unrelated to not being blackmailed to offer the $10 million. Either way, I think that having that number out there raises the stakes. It makes it a bigger deal. And I think it fairly requires ESPN to take a closer look at this, since they put him on their air. And there's surely a clause, I would assume, I don't know, haven't seen his contract. There's got to be language in there, though, if it's anything like my contract, that there are certain lines you cross in your private life, and you got a problem with your contract with ESPN. And to the extent that he's shopping his podcast, his deal with the volume is up. There's been a suggestion it's a nine-figure, $100 million deal that might be done. I just think that there's due diligence that now needs to be exercised, knowing what we know. And in the effort to create whatever impression Lanny Davis hopes to create by sharing with the world that at least $10 million was offered before the case was filed, all I'm saying is I'm not sure it's going to go that way. And I appreciate the fact that he acknowledges it's my opinion, that I'm not stating any fact. I'm sharing the fact that Davis said at least $10 million was offered. It's my opinion that the average person who hears, I didn't do anything, this is all made up, I'm being blackmailed, and who hears, oh, by the way, I offered at least $10 million. It's not the easiest mental gymnastics routine to engage in to come to the conclusion that the offer of $10 million is consistent with the normal, usual, routine behavior of someone who was approached with a proposition that they regard as blackmail. That's all I have to say about the matter for now. But I can tell based upon the interest that's out there, the reaction to the prior video I did, the traffic that our stories on this is doing, this is something that people are naturally interested in. They want to see how this goes. This happens all the time. There are different cases that pop up that capture our interest and our attention, and it feels like this is going to be one of those. We'll see where it goes. We'll see how it goes, but as it unfolds.
Now, what compounds this is that they're looking at Shannon Sharpe like, I don't look at him any type of way, but they're looking at him like, bro, you have a history of this. They're actually looking at him like Deshaun Watson. Remember I told you, when you dig a hole, dig two. Because what's compounded this is that, like, 15 years ago, he was working for CBS. And he caught an allegation of sexual assault. And I think he had left CBS. But now they're saying, bruh, this ain't the first time? Let's go back to this.
I'm Christy Duffy for Smart Trend News, and yet another shocking sports-related rape case. CBS sports analyst and former NFL tight end Shannon Sharpe took a, quote, leave of absence after accusations surfaced that he had allegedly raped and threatened to kill a woman. According to legal documents obtained by Sports by Brooks, Sharpe's accuser claimed that the renowned tight end, quote, forced her to have sex with him, threatens her life, and, quote, places her under surveillance and calls to say he is watching her. Sharpe joined CBS in 2004 after finishing his 13-year NFL career. When he retired, he held the all-time record for receiving yards for all tight ends. Smart Trend is bullish on shares of CBS, and our subscribers were alerted to buy September 2nd when her stock was at a price of $14.83 per share. The stock has risen near 4% since that alert was issued. I'm Christy Duffy for Smart Trend News. For further updates, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Trade the Trend. Also visit our website, tradethetrend.com, for more on our Smart Trend alert system.
Now, you know who's also give great commentary about this?
Blah, blah, blah. What's up, y'all? It's Marcellus
Wallace.
Wally, that
He's done a good
dude.
job.
It's over for Shannon Sharpe at ESPN for now. I repeat, for now. So I'm at an investors conference and I was listening to some pitches, decided to take a break, went to the bar to hydrate, opened up my phone, and boom, Shannon's X account has this screenshot. Quote, my statement is found here and this is the truth. The relationship in question was 100% consensual. At this juncture, I'm electing to step aside temporarily from my ESPN duties. I will be devoting this time to my family and responding and dealing with these false and disruptive allegations set against me. I plan to return to ESPN at the start of the NFL preseason. I sincerely appreciate the overwhelming and ongoing support I've received from my family, fans, friends, and colleagues. Shannon Sharpe. Wow. Kaboom. A lot of conversation about would Shannon Sharpe be able to keep his job throughout this litigation process. We now know that answer. What happened? What changed the hearts? What changed the minds of those ESPN executives? Because when the allegations first hit, Shannon Sharpe was allowed to still come on air. Something changed. We'll talk through that. But first, I want you guys to all know, what did Shannon Sharpe sign on to when he signed to go to ESPN? Here's their conduct policy. You will act at all times with due regard to public morals and conventions. You shall refrain from any offensive or distasteful remarks or conduct in the production and broadcast of the programs. If in at any time you shall do or have done any act or thing that would amount to a felony or misdemeanor under federal, state, or local laws, or which tends to bring you or us into public disrepute, scandal, or ridicule, or which might insult or offend the community or substantial group thereof, or which might reflect unfavorably on us or injure the success of the programs, we shall have the right to terminate this agreement at any time before the expiration of 30 days after the date on which we acquire knowledge thereof. Just wanted to clarify for everybody out there, there was a 30-day clock that started the day that ESPN found out about these allegations in terms of enforcing their conduct policy. So now, let's get into this, because Shannon Sharpe, like everybody, was under the presumption of innocence when the allegations first hit. He actually...
Wait, where did he get that info? Is it from his... I think he worked for ESPN at a while, so he's reading what probably was in his shit, right?
Success of the programs or misdemeanor under...
Here we go.
Go to ESPN. Here's their conduct policy. Come on air. Something changed. We'll talk through that. But first, I want you guys to all know, what did Shannon Sharpe sign on to when he signed to go to ESPN? Here's their conduct policy. You will act at all times with due regard to public morals and conventions. You shall refrain from any offensive or distasteful remarks or conduct in the production and broadcast of the programs. If in at any time you shall do or have done any act or thing that would amount to a felony or misdemeanor under federal, state, or local laws, or which tends to bring you or us into public disrepute, scandal, or ridicule, or which might insult or offend the community or substantial group thereof, or which might reflect unfavorably on us or injure the success of the programs, we shall have the right to terminate this agreement at any time before the expiration of 30 days after the date on which we acquire knowledge thereof. Just wanted
Oh, so he's saying basically if Shannon has survived 30 days, they would be bunkering down with him. But if he didn't, they got him out of here.
clarify for everybody out there, there was a 30-day clock that started the day that ESPN found out about these allegations in terms of enforcing their conduct policy. So now, let's get into this, because Shannon Sharpe, like everybody, was under the presumption of innocence when the allegations first hit. He actually still is, but here's the problem. There are two ways to fight allegations like this. The traditional method, which you let your lawyers speak and you put out that blanket statement that says, I'm going to let due process take care of itself and we'll discuss this in the court of law, blah, 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 right? And then there's the newer model, which Jay-Z took, which is come out swinging, and not only swinging, but successfully winning that fight, getting the case dismissed, turning the plaintiff into a...
I'm glad he's saying that because he's making a good point right here. If Shannon clearly is taking Jay-Z's approach, right? Except his lawyer isn't Alex Spiro. Second of all, Jay-Z had investigators go dig up that woman's past. They start bringing so much shit to the table that the lawyer for the woman, they were blindsided. Like, what? They were going behind the lawyer's back to go talk to the woman. It seems like Shannon don't got nothing on her but the messages. And they probably looked at all the messages already. Like the woman's lawyer, which is Busby. So unless Shannon had some other shit, I don't know, some ring camera footage, some this, some that kind of like, oh shit. It don't seem Shannon got it. He, now he couldn't wait to go, he could hire some investigators to go dig up her life and figure out, I don't know, maybe she got a gay best friend that she was talking to the whole time about, no, I'm going to set this nigga Shannon up. And maybe that best friend not cool with her no more. And he's down to, like, maybe he secretly recorded a video of her saying it. You don't got time for that. Shannon, it's you want that $100 million, you panicking.
Defendant in a countersuit and suing them for defamation along with the lawyer. Now, that's a knockout blow. Shannon Sharpe chose the Jay-Z route. He even mentioned Jay-Z in one of his responses to these allegations. Here's the problem with the Jay-Z route, what Shannon is going through right now. Because when you go, if anybody's ever been in a fight, and you win that fight, oh, people gonna know you still been in a fight, even if you're victorious. So ESPN didn't sign up for a fight with Shannon Sharpe. And Shannon Sharpe signed on to ESPN saying everything in that conduct policy I would adhere to. So with the presumption of innocence, all of a sudden they had a change of heart, change of mind, and said, hey, we'll allow you to put out this press release. We'll allow you to mention it first. You can say we're mutually parting ways for now, whatever you want to say.
Just like I said.
But we can't continue our relationship for now. We'll see if that's forever when the NFL preseason starts. But here's the problem with it. And these are some of the missteps. And I've heard a lot of people talk about these missteps, and I discussed them as well. When you come out swinging, you got to remember they're going to fight back as well. And in this situation, leaking text messages, audio leaks of you privately going to choke her and publicly going to choke her, and even the racial elements of a black man versus a white woman and those conversations that were leaked to the public. And even Shannon's response where he said that the lawyer has a vendetta against black men and black celebrities, whatever it may be. ESPN didn't sign up for that. Disney didn't sign up for that. Those are demographics that they respect. And no matter what you caught yourself into, whatever you stepped into, Shannon Sharpe, ESPN doesn't have to step with you.
Okay, let me get Cam in here real quick. This is my man Cameron. And he's actually making a different point, but he's also saying he gonna give some tips, to men to know you're being lined up. I want to see what he gonna say.
But the first thing I took from this when I heard it was, look, he was living in California and moved to Nevada. She moved from California to Nevada too. So if somebody's being abusive to you in one state, why would you move to the next state with the same nigga who's abusing you? I don't know. Me personally, I found the red flag with that personally. And then the next thing is this sex tape that's supposedly coming out. Shannon said, put the whole 30 minutes out or 10 minutes, whatever it is. I guess there's some part in there for 30 seconds because brought that up. Shannon brought that up. He said, I believe he's going to release 30 seconds of it. Whatever that 30 seconds is must be nasty and violent and fucked up. If you don't want to put the whole 10 minutes and you reducing it to that 30, it must have been WWE in that joint. Elbow off the top of the bed, off the thrower against the dresser. You white little bitch. Come here, suck big black dick. Fuck you talking about? You want nigga dick? I get that part. I get it.
Yo, Cam, you know exactly how it is, niggas. Like that one scene in Paid in Full. Yo, throw that ass back! Throw that ass back! Like all of that. Yeah, that's how, Cam, you know how it is. Who remember that scene in Paid in Full? Who remember that scene? It'd be like, yo, AOB, like, yo, listen, what's the point of having soldiers if you don't use them? Because that nigga right there, yo, he's getting money and pussy. Who remember that scene?
Tell white bitches you want that nigga dick. But it's consensual. They agree. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I've been doing this in a different realm from him. I never made it as a professional athlete. I've been out here shaking and juggling these bitches since 20 years old.
Yo, this show is lit.
They agree. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I've been doing this in a different...
Yo, hey, be like, yo, what's up, man? Be like, yo, what's up? What's up, B? Yo, I'm living. You're right. That's what he said. I'm living. You know that scene. I don't even want to play. I don't even know if I can play it on here.
Realm from him. I never made it as a professional athlete. I've been out here shaking and juggling these bitches since 20 years old. I know what you up to. I know when a bitch try to bait me in a text message to say some dumb shit. I ain't writing it back. You right. And I'm not writing nothing back. You can't get me to write a damn thing back when I see what's going on. You get what I'm saying? Then you gotta know. You gotta know. See, that's the fucked up thing. It seemed like he trusted her from the conversation I heard. You gotta read the signs like,
that's a fact.
I don't want to get choked. That ain't something you usually say.
That's a fact. Yo, Killer. Yo, Killer the greatest, bro. I be dick around when it comes to camera, ain't it? Bitch, that ain't something you really say. I don't want. Now I ain't gonna lie. I don't want to get choked. I'm like, nah. There's no way. Unc used to be having them freaky conversation and she sounded like that.
Thing back when I see what's going on. You get what I'm saying? Then you gotta know. You gotta know. See, that's the fucked up thing. It seemed like he trusted her from the conversation I heard. You gotta read the signs like, I don't want to get choked. That ain't something you usually say. Hold on. You don't usually talk to me like this. Why are you talking to me like this now? Yo, I'm going to hit you back.
I'm going to hit you back. Boom.
And then you know, when shit ain't right, you be like, when you answer the phone, they be like, hello, hello, hello. They setting up. Oh, I can hear you now. They done set the call up. You got to read all these signs, bro. And you got to think about this, right? This is why, and a lot of people call this nigga Uncle Tom, and he don't like black people, or this, that, and the third, et cetera, et cetera. This is why Stephen A. don't get into no shit like this. And I'm gonna say none of us is above it, knock on wood, but he knows he works for Disney. When you work for Disney, a sex tape can't be coming out like this. You can't be admitting that, 30 seconds of this shit was kind of rough. I'm letting y'all know. Shit get a little wild. But didn't he like 30 seconds get what? Yo, this Mickey Mouse in now. What you mean 30 seconds get wild? I think that Disney...
Nah, 30 seconds was crazy. Like, y'all got to see the whole thing. Like, yo, yeah, now I was going crazy with it.
He's getting a little more lenient because of shit like Pat McAfee, cursing at 12 p.m. in the afternoon. Not just that, Shannon had a little sex tape that he admitted to, nothing visual, just vocal. So I think it's a little more lenient, and I hope that Disney does keep him. I'm rooting for him because I do believe this is a shakedown. But when you start getting the video evidence and vocal ever.
Nah, Killer the GOAT still. Now, the Breakfast Club jumped in and they said, yo, Shannon he's playing all the wrong cards.
And abuse me, daddy. And you can see when these text messages were released, you can see it says like from Gabby to owner. So it's painting a picture that their relationship was giving that, you know, there was role play and everything that were happening. Now,
it was a very unfortunate situation.
It's crazy.
Horrible situation.
But let me ask
Shannon
you.
Sharpe and his lawyer have handled this whole situation terribly. First of all, if you're Shannon Sharpe, you shouldn't be saying anything.
No, he shouldn't.
Busby and this young woman got audio, video, and text messages. If you know all of those things are out there, you should shut the F up and continue to allow your lawyer to do his job. And your lawyer said out of his own mouth that you was close to a $10 million settlement with that girl. That right there is all the more reason to shut the F up. I'm not here to speak to Shannon's guilt or innocence because I don't know, but I do know attempting to settle looks like an admission of guilt because I'm not settling.
Yeah, or you're just scared.
Yeah.
Honestly, you just probably scared.
I'm with you, Charlamagne. I feel like he's being advised wrong, right? And you know, when people go through this, they go to an attorney because the attorney usually knows what's best for them. They usually know what to do. And in this situation, like any attorney would say, shut the F up and let's deal with it in court. Let's deal with facts because you can't change public opinion unless it's in court with facts. Now, but one thing I would say, if somebody said this, but I cried when you left because I begged you to put a condom on and you put it in my beep and you didn't listen. I don't care what our history is. If that didn't happen, I'm going to be like, what the hell are you talking about? Nah, we agreed on this. I'm not going to be like, I'll call you later because I'm feeling like this is a setup right here.
Absolutely.
As soon as
Nah. Envy, you right with that. I'll be like, you fucking liar. Yo, get off my phone with that bullshit. Yo, get off my phone with that this fuck shit you told me. Like, yo, bro, what are you talking about?
Me this, I'm gonna feel a little. And nobody's just gonna respond. I'll call you later. You're gonna be like, "What the hell are you talking about?" We both agreed to this. You know, like this is part of the game. Like nobody's gonna respond with that, which scares me. But like,
yo, I ain't gonna lie. Yo, Uncle Shay, he should have watched This by Kevin Hart. All you freaky ass niggas, y'all thought some of this freaky talk was also for outside the bedroom. I ain't gonna lie. Chat, this is a real story. I've dealt with a girl who liked for extreme shit talking when you with her. Like she would say like, yo, fuck me like a slut. And I'm like, but I like you. I don't want to do that. I just kind of want to make love to you type shit. I ain't gonna lie, I'm soft. It's okay. But now she was like, nah, fuck me like a slut, like a hoe. And I'm like, okay. And then she'll be like giving instructions like, call me a bitch. So after like a couple weeks, I'm like, man, take that dick, bitch. I'm over here into this shit. It wasn't until we're not having sex no more. And I'm like, yo, come here, bitch. And she was like, what? You call me bitch? What the fuck? Why you disrespecting me like that, nigga? And I'm like, wait. That's when I realized I'm like, okay. Yeah, I don't want to play this game no more. This game is not cool no more. This game ain't cool. She would say some shit. She was like, yeah, I'm daddy's slut. I'm like, all right. I'm like, yeah, you're daddy's slut. Yeah, okay. I'm just like pounding it out. She'd be like, tell me I'm your bitch. You my bitch. And I'm piping her out. To the point that I start ad-libbing now. This is weeks in. I'm like, yo, bitch, take that fucking dick. Nigga, one time, tell you, we're just chilling. Like, we ain't doing nothing sexual. I was just like, yo, come here, bitch. You call me a bitch, nigga? Yo, what you think this is? Yo, you don't got no respect. That's why I can't fuck with you. You got no respect for me. And I'm like, I said, you know what? I don't know when to do it and when not to do it. I'm going to just stop with all that, period. Word too, bro. I ain't even going to cap with y'all.
Let me keep going because I had some other stuff I wanted to say. So let's just stop. I want to write some stuff down so I can.
There you go.
It's no big deal. Whatever. I'm weird when it comes to sex, man. I get uncomfortable very fast. I really do. I'm not lying to y'all. But here's the thing. I don't bite my tongue. When I'm uncomfortable, I'm going to tell you. I am. I've done it several times. That's why I use safety words. For those who do not know what safety words are words that you use to let a woman know that you're not comfortable with what's going on. My safety word is pineapples. That's a word.
There you go.
Pineapples. The reason why I use pineapples because I don't like saying shit like, stop, get the fuck off me, let me go. I don't like it. Maybe
that's all my man Uncle Shay needed to know and say, bruh.
like Charlamagne said, Shut the F up. Let the facts play out in court, because right now all this talking is doing too much.
Audio.
And it's making it worse.
Even audio when she was like, you're manipulating.
The sad thing for Shannon Sharpe is that I think he thought, like, as a man, the more info you put out there, and especially if you're on some sexual freaky shit, like, it's not gonna make you look innocent. It's just gonna look crazier. They're like, yo, this nigga's on some shit. Has Dr. Umar commented on the latest? We need Dr. Umar. Is Dr. Umar commenting on the latest? Man, Shannon Sharpe is already out at he's already out at motherfucking ESPN. Oh, we're getting more information. Those close to Shannon Sharpe are adamant his relationship with the rape accuser was purely a BDSM one where the two would meet up for rough sex about once a week and nothing more. Sources close to the Pro Football Hall of Famer tells TMZ Sports on Thursday that the ex-NFL star engaged in kinky, consensual sexual activity with Jane Doe about 100 times in both Los Angeles and Nevada from late 2022 to January 2025. They insist that while the intimate encounters featured... Wait, how would your friends know you choking the shit out of her? Unless was he showing them the videos and shit? I don't know. How does his friends know, like, how y'all were fucking? I ain't gonna lie to you. I would feel a little bit weird if my friends knew exactly how I was fucking my girl. Like, wait, well, hold on. How do you know this shit, my nigga? They insist that while the intimate encounters featured choking and role-playing, none of it was ever non-consensual. How do they know? Or forcible sex. In fact, the sources added it was his accuser, a OnlyFans model, who requested most of the physical acts, claiming her text messages showed she'd like to be tied up and wear a dog collar in some of their time between the sheets. Numerous texts from her, they say, capture her demands, including one where she says, I want you to tie me up like this and abuse me, daddy. The sources were adamant the duo's relationship never once reached boyfriend. All right, see, this is how you, let me tell you this. Anytime a girl's trying to, like, say some shit about you, they're going to get 10 times madder when you're like, that wasn't even my girl. Because in her mind, those years, she was your girl. Now, granted, Shannon was fucking mad at other girls. But in her mind, she was Shannon's girl. So when Shannon's, like, denying that, she gets 10 times madder. She going to tell that nigga to leak something else. Holy. Yeah, that's crazy. He said Tony Busby said in a statement to TMZ Sports, someone should tell Mr. Sharpe that when you're digging yourself a hole, it would be smart to stop digging. Did he just try to steal my phrase? I said when you dig a hole, dig two. He says when you're digging a hole, just stop. What? Said the filed complaint and the audio speaks for itself. Lawyer pointed out a text his client sent to Sharpe on January 2nd that says, I don't care what our history is, Shannon. Yeah, she was lining them up from like maybe like December, November-ish, 2024. So you can tell from the no means no.
I knew that.
Jesus. This is bad work, chat. This is nasty work right here. What the hell? There's a photo of Will Smith going viral. Ain't no fucking way. That nigga must be coming in to try to help out Shannon Sharpe. Y'all got to see this picture of Will Smith, man. This got to be AI. Look at this shit, chat. Can I post it? I think it's going up. Look at this shit right here. Y'all niggas got it, bro. It says Shannon Sharpe was called over the age gap hypocrisy. Deal Hughley
Reporting live
him.
from Hyper's Club. Just saw Ali.
6 and trying.
You tried.
Like when you start.
She's accused him of the R word, non-consensual force.
Oh, this is. Oh, my bad. Let me get this off the screen. What the fuck? This is I think this is Lanny Davis right here. Right? This is Shannon Sharpe's lawyer. Oh shit! Perfect. Chat, I ain't gonna lie. I ordered food, so I'm about to go grab it real quick. Don't worry, we vibing. We 4 hours in. We good. We chilling. I think the food here. I don't want to miss this shit though. No, Kizzy. All right. I'm gonna just go all the way back type shit. Fuck. No, I don't want to miss none of it.
Algorithm and more people become aware of our channel and they get to hear what we're talking about today, because today is a very interesting and important subject that is in the zeitgeist today that just about everyone is talking about. I'm getting texts all over the place. What is going on with Shannon Sharpe? What do you know? And so we're going to introduce his attorney and we're going to find out.
Why somebody said stand up Philly? They said this is y'all. They said this is a starter lineup for Philly. They said Meek Mill and this nigga. Yo, man, look at this. Look at the iRobot's like, oh man. Someone said perhaps, just perhaps, we should have just heard Jada's side of the story. What the fuck? What the hell? Well, all right, man. All right, hold on. Wait. Where's this thing? All right, cool.
In just moments. Okay, so good
Yo,
evening. Welcome to the program.
Let me grab the food.
Appreciate you joining us. Do we have a show for you today? In case you missed our hot topics this morning, I want to quickly catch you up on the Shannon Sharpe. It's the Super Bowl champion and host of Club Shay Shay. He's been accused of sexual assault in a Nevada lawsuit, okay? That suit was brought by a woman who alleges that Sharpe used his fame to, quote, manipulate, control, these are her words, and subjugate and violate women. The accuser was 19 years old at the time when she met Sharpe. That was back in 2023, says in a legal filing that the pair had a nearly 2-year relationship during which time Mr. Sharpe was, quote, aggressive and allegedly violated her, raped her. Okay, that's what she's alleging. So Mr. Sharpe has denied the allegations and said that he is a target of a shakedown. So let's bring in Shannon Sharpe's attorney, the famed Lanny Davis, who's represented just a number of high-profile people. And I've worked with Lanny for years, at least, interviewing him for clients that and the stories that he's been involved in. Lanny, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Don.
So, Lanny, what is going on here? Because we have, you know what has happened. She's accused him. I read that. You have this salacious text messages. You've got the phone calls, and we'll play some of that in a minute. But where are we? And then we have the breaking news that he is stepping aside from ESPN. So where are we? What is going on here?
Well, let me at least add to the words stepping aside and start with that, and then I'll answer your question, if you don't mind, Don. He's stepping aside. He's elected to step aside to take care of his family and to deal with this blackmail filled with lies by this individual who uses OnlyFans to make money and to act out in role playing. But the reason that's relevant is that we are going to counterclaim and file suit against her. She will be under oath, and we will show that what I'm saying is true. She's lying about anything other than consensual sex. There was never anything but consensual sex. The reason we sent out her own words, her own text messages, is that she often asked for rough sex. She in a text message that we just recently put online, she said, I want to be in a dog collar Daddy, I want your black babies. She has been role playing on OnlyFans. She was role playing and asked for this with Mr. Shannon Sharpe. So we are going to prove this in court when we sue her in a counterclaim. But I'm saying on the record, she's lying. We have evidence of her lies from her own words and what she was asking for in the text messages. But we will prove affirmatively what Shannon Sharpe said on his Instagram account. He's innocent. There was never a moment of other than consensual sex. And this is about blackmail and a shakedown scheme.
Okay, so people are dialing in at every second, as you know, and streaming. That's what Shannon does. I'm sure you're very aware of it. So we have more people joining us. So I just want to say that we are joined by famed attorney Lanny Davis, who is attorney for Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe's attorney. You guys misspelled attorney. Shannon Sharpe's attorney, so you can take it down and put it up, speaks. Okay, so Lanny, the fact that she works for OnlyFans, is that somehow undermine her credibility? I mean, because folks would say they would call that, shaming of some sort. If you know,
no, I absolutely am not.
In the realm of her skirt was too short.
How she decides to earn a living, I'm not making any comment about her decision to use OnlyFans. That's her decision. I'm not criticizing that decision or judging her for that decision. The relevance is fantasy role playing is what, among other things, she does on this particular site, OnlyFans. The fantasy role playing was the explicit sex messages or text messages that we posted that she asked for over and over again, including wearing a dog collar and engaging in non-traditional forms of sex. So it's consistent with my statement, which we will prove that she's a liar, that she engaged as the news of his success and future contract came to her attention. She took advantage to leverage the possibility of her getting paid, and she blackmailed him. And we are suing her, and we will prove that this was a scheme to blackmail involving secret taping, and we will prove that Mr. Sharpe is telling the truth, that he was never, ever involved in anything other than consensual sexual activity privately between two adults.
Okay, so let's some of these things that we have. I want to play this recorded phone call because this is the first thing that came out after she filed the suit. And then you and I will talk about it. This is a call between Gabby, right? She was Jane Doe. Now she has been identified as Gabby, but she has a different name on OnlyFans, correct?
Yes, Carly, I believe, but she has several aliases. One of them is Carly.
Yeah, and Shannon Sharpe references that in his response, that she's Carly on OnlyFans. Okay, so this is the first thing that came out. This is a recorded phone call. Take a listen, everybody.
Well, you're coming to LA tomorrow?
Yes.
Too much pause.
Well, I don't know why you want to go out.
Don't worry about it, Gabby.
Well, okay.
Okay, what?
She do sound like somebody's in the room with her, right?
Well, I'm not really interested in getting choked, so I guess we're going.
She sound like somebody's in the room.
I might choke you in public. Big black guy chokes small white woman.
It's not a good look, Shannon.
Not a good look that you do with the shit you did to me.
What did she do?
Okay, well...
Okay, so put this into context for me, Lanny. What precipitated this, and what's the context of this particular phone call?
Thank you. The lawyer who represents this Ms. Zuniga is well known for putting things out of context and posting a secretly taped telephone call without posting a text message where she has a collar around her neck and she says, choke me. And without posting all the other examples of fantasy role playing that she asked for involving choking and other forms of non-traditional sex, is a deliberate part of the scheme to blackmail. She didn't tell Mr. Sharpe that she was taping. She does secret taping. We have certain evidence that a tape that she's going to use as part of her blackmail attempt was heavily edited. And when we asked to see a copy of it to determine whether it was edited, she and her lawyer said no. Now, this out of context telephone call, you can hear her voice. Her voice is not somebody who is afraid of being choked. In fact, Mr. Shannon Sharpe never, ever choked her. After this telephone conversation, they had many times of consensual sex. The apartment in Las Vegas, she followed him to Las Vegas when he moved there. The apartment had 3 or 4 different secure access points. She had to come down with her telephone to open the gates. She welcomed him into her apartment with all that security. And this whole telephone conversation is consistent with what we put online, which is the desire for fantasy role playing, similar to what she does on OnlyFans.
Okay, so I'm going in order of as things happen. So that phone call came out, the lawsuit was filed, that phone call came out, and then you guys responded with releasing the text messages. Am I correct with that?
To provide context to this distorted drip by drip release of her secretly recorded telephone calls to try to suggest that Shannon Sharpe ever did anything but consensual sex. All the text messages, all her activity after this alleged event that she's referring to were all consensual, and we will prove that.
Okay, so then, but his response came after you put out the text messages, right? His on-camera response, that was later, or which one came first?
No, well, he immediately, I think you're referring to his Instagram comment. Yeah. I think that was a few days before we finally collected the text messages and posted them online.
All right, Lanny, let's listen to some of what he said. This is Shannon Sharpe's response.
Thank you.
My family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey, Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup, coordinated by Gabby, also known as Carly, on OnlyFans. Gabby and Tony Busby want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down. My career is all about real talk and honesty. I know my family and fans know exactly what this is about. And I'm going to be out there telling you whatever I need to say, just like I always do. I love all you guys. Thanks.
It is unusual. I mean, this is a different day and age, Lanny. I mean, you and I are old enough to remember where you didn't, the lawyer either responded or it was no comment. But we're in a different age now. Why do you feel it was necessary? Why did Shannon feel it was necessary? And I'm sure he ran this by his representatives to get in front of this and get it on camera.
Well, I'm his lawyer, and he's been sued with vicious lies that are contained in the lawsuit filed by this Mr. Busby. And we're going to be suing her as a counterclaim, and we will prove she's lying. But then I said myself to Shannon Sharpe, you need to talk to your family, your friends, your fans, everybody who watches ESPN, because you are telling the truth. The truth is on your side. And when you say it yourself, rather than me or somebody else saying it, you will be believed. And I ask everybody to find that. It's on formerly known as Twitter, X, and you can watch him. And I said to him, Shannon, the television camera quickly detects somebody who's not authentic and doesn't lie. I'm kind of an expert in that subject. You will come across as telling the truth because you are telling the truth. So I hope everybody watches that tape. The jury will be seeing Shannon testify. And then when she's on the witness stand, which she must be, because she filed the lawsuit. She will be asked to explain the text messages asking for fantasy role playing, asking to be choked, asking for a dog collar, asking for his, quote, black babies. This was all a plan, taped, manipulated, extortion, blackmail scheme, and we will prove that in court when we sue her in a counterclaim and she's under oath.
Okay, so a couple of things. You said that you know that from experience. You want to explain to the audience why you know that? Because you've had some high-profile cases.
Yes, I have been a lawyer all my life as a litigator and in courtrooms. But then I began to realize in the age of social media and in politics that it was very important that if somebody is falsely accused, that the accused directly looks everybody in the eye and tells the truth and let the viewer decide. That's why I advised Shannon to go on camera, on Instagram, and tell the truth. People will know if you're lying, Shannon. Tell it exactly the way you feel it. That's my advice to people in this situation. If I believe
you're involved in some very high profile political folks too, as well. So
yes,
you know.
I've people in politics who are falsely accused, people in politics who do something wrong. My advice always is tell all your truth. Tell it early and tell it yourself. And that's the advice I've given politicians. That's the advice I gave to Shannon.
Okay, so let's go through some of these because you mentioned some of the text messages. Okay, so this is a screen. Let's put up the full one of some of the text messages here, and so there are a number of them. But I want to go through some of them. If you can just run through them, Andy. Yes. And so we have a couple of pages of them, and I have to warn you, they're salacious. And because you know, it says, but I cried when you left because I begged you to put on a condom on and not put it in my you know what backside, and you didn't listen. I don't care what our history is. No means no, Shannon. Now folks are saying that one is really damning. You want to talk to me about that one?
Yes, this is all her scheme and her plan. If she's not scheming and planning, why does she refuse to turn over the edited tape that will prove that she's schemed ahead of time, planned this, and then edited a tape to make it seem as if no means she is being taken against her will? The facts will come out when we see this tape, and he has said in the statement, this tape was edited. This whole conversation was fake. This was a blackmail scheme, a plan to squeeze money out of a man that she knew had been successful. And just at the moment of his success, she needs blackmail money. And that's what this was about. And we'll prove that in court.
Okay. So
yeah, we're definitely in a new era when the lawyer says, I told my client to go speak about the case, but just tell the truth. Usually it would be like, let's do a carefully concocted PR statement. And maybe that it was that because it did look like Shannon Sharpe was reading from a prompter, right? Yo, this picture's messing me up, chat. I ain't gonna lie. It did look like, oh yeah, you got me blocked on there. Shannon Sharpe. It did look like he was reading from a teleprompter, right? Look. Where is the apology? Or not apology, but where is it? Wow, is he tweeted that much shit?
Friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly.
Yeah, he's looking over to
the
side.
heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because.
Yeah, he's reading from a teleprompter. Yeah.
So I mean, folks are saying it's that one is very damning. I don't know how to process this. Keep going. Let's go through some of these, Andy. Can I call you later? So I'm just showing some of the evidence, and this is 1/2/25. I want to be abused, Daddy. From her saying, and this sort of goes into what you were saying. I want like some hardcore BDSM action, though. Okay.
BDS is sadomasochism. She sent photographs that we could have put up and more than we did that are from her bondage and what she prefers. So the notion that she's now suddenly claiming after editing a tape and faking everything and saying no while she's asking for this, as you've just seen, are our evidence of lies and the scheme of a blackmail. And it doesn't make any sense that she came back and voluntarily wanted to see him more and had consensual sex even after her claim that she was coerced.
Okay. Yeah, because this one was later. That one was 1:30. Okay, and then there's, I guess that's a picture of her. I want you to tie me up like this and abuse me, daddy. Okay, let's keep going through. And then I guess this one would be from Shannon agreeing when I'd be killing that young, you know what, kitty cat or whatever. And then I guess she was upset because of what happened with, I think, on Instagram when Shannon had the unfortunate situation of going live during a personal act. Absolutely not. When you give me a formal apology for cheating on me on Instagram, I live and multiple other times, then we can talk about it. What's this one about?
So this is when we're in court. We'll be looking at a jury using its common sense whether this individual can be believed at all. This is a woman who has planned and schemed to set up Shannon Sharpe. Her telephone call or setup. She didn't tell him she was taping him. This shows that her plan was executed just at the moment that he appeared to be most successful with his podcast. That's called blackmail. We are also showing that her text messages were asking for the very behavior that she then falsely and willfully falsely called lying said was not consensual. That's why these text messages are so important.
Let's go through a couple more here, and I won't burden you with all of them. Absolutely not. When you give me, okay, that one's the same one. A formal apology. That's the same one, Andy. Let's go to the formal apology. He says, she says formal apology, and then keep going. I've said sorry, Gabby, and I think the next one she says, but you haven't said I'm sorry for what, and you say I'm sorry, and you never say what you're sorry for, and you're going to make it right. Okay, wow, keep going. What's taking so long? Either you don't have the cash to show me right now, or you're with Michelle. Which one is it, Shannon? Now, what is that about?
Yes, I was about to say, may I interrupt, but you gave me the chance to comment. First of all, money. When she became transactional with Mr. Sharpe, with Shannon, where she demanded money from him for sexual acts, no different than what she does on OnlyFans. I'm not judging that. That's what she does. She asks for money for these role-playing fantasies. Number two, what is she angry about? She's not angry about forced sex or the R word. I hate to use it. I won't repeat it. Is what she's accusing him, lying that the R word applied to consensual sex. She's jealous because he was with another woman and it was live streamed. He did that, and that's up to him to explain. But what the result was, she was angry, not at non-consensual sex. She was angry because she was a woman who was jealous, and lots of us have jealous feelings sometimes, and there's nothing unusual about that. But the motivation here is money, always money. He was paying her money for sex. She gets now the flavor that she can get a lot of money, and that's what blackmail is about. Paying that blackmail money isn't about admitting wrongdoing, by the way. It's what blackmailers do in order to avoid embarrassment to your family and danger to your future. People pay blackmail money not because they did anything wrong. I've seen some reporting on that.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that. Let me ask you about that. Hold on, stand by. Let me just go through some of these, and I'm going to ask you about that. Okay. I know you missed this big juicy. This is her ass. She says $25K per each cheek. Okay, money again, as you say. And then he says 10K cash. I guess it was sort of joking around there. I don't know. Maybe it's real. And send a pic or I don't know. What does that say? FT me with it. Maybe it's FaceTime. I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, okay. FaceTime me with it.
Send a pic, or maybe that's FaceTime me with it. So maybe she was asking for personal pictures of him. Maybe his private parts. I have no idea. Okay,
no, she wanted the money.
The next one is if you want to put a dog collar around my neck and choke me with it while you're effing me. Okay.
This is excuse me for interrupting you. This is Exhibit A, that she's a liar. She's a blackmailer. She set him up. It's a shakedown. This is Exhibit A. She wants a collar.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, Lanny. Okay, keep going. The next one. Loved, I want you to put a dog collar around my neck, and so he loved it, and then keep going. And then I'm going to just read these for a little bit. But there are other ones that saying, I want you to put your if you scroll through them, Andy, or put the big one up, I want you to put, I think she said, your black baby soup or something inside of me, and I want to have your big
gravy.
black baby, and all of those kinds of things that people are like, oh my gosh, what the hell is going? I want you to put your tongue in my you know what, and then marry you, blah 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 blah. Okay, so that's pretty salacious. Now,
Don Lemon, you a freaky ass nigga too.
Can I just jump in as a lawyer?
Yeah.
It is salacious
Yeah.
and it is not exactly easy to read, but it's about lying. She's accused him of the R word, non-consensual forced sex, and yet her text messages convey exactly the opposite. She wants to be dominated. She uses sadomasochism expressions. She sends photographs that we have of bondage. Do you think a jury is going to believe this liar who wants money, demands money, and then in order to stay silent in the future, engages in blackmail and asks for money? I don't think the trial is going to go very well for her. And I think her lawyer, who's known for other practices, as Mr. Shannon pointed out, of suing black men, I don't think her lawyer is fully prepared for what's going to happen to her when she must take the witness stand because she filed the lawsuit. She can't decline to take the witness stand. She will be subpoenaed by us. If she declines, in my opinion, the lawsuit will be dismissed.
You're going to court. Is there a settlement here? Because every legal person I've seen online or in a story is like, this will settle. This will
not settle. We are going to sue her for defamation and many other causes of action that involve, and potentially a criminal act, is blackmail. And that is what happened here. And we have the evidence of blackmail, and we will prove it in court. This will not settle. She is going to be proven to be a liar. My client's reputation, his family
So Shannon Sharpe is being sued by Jane Doe, by the same man that has a case against Diddy, or try to put a case against Diddy, Jay-Z. Honestly, from what it's looking like, Tony Busby only goes after successful black men. Like, okay, let's say even if they're wrong, like from the outside looking in, he literally only goes after successful black men. And I don't know if it's like a personal vendetta or what he has, but hey man, it's not a, feel me, I can't really give my personal opinions, but it's crazy. I hope this isn't true. I don't see this case really going anywhere. Like, cases like this is really only for headlines, so it sounds crazy. And like, I feel like with a lot of black people, you're guilty, like, and then proven innocent. You're not like proven innocent until, like, you feel me, till you go to court. And this headline just looks so crazy. And like what Axe said, he has $100 million deal on the line. Of course they want to get him out of here, bro, or lower the deal or something. I don't know. But it's your boy Big Act News. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and pray for the best for your Shannon Sharpe, man.